All right. It is February 1st, and today is like the day of reckoning for email. I don't know if you guys have kind of been following that, but Google, Yahoo, a lot of the big players, they've really kind of clamped down, and today was their final day of reckoning where you had to have all of your email in order to get delivered. So if you're sending email like to Gmail addresses or Yahoo addresses, they've really made it difficult to do that because a lot of people, I mean, we take sending email for granted. We pull up our email reader, we send an email, and we expect it to wind up on the other end and be received. Well, if you're sending to Gmail addresses and Yahoo addresses, that might not be the case from today forward unless you get your proverbial shit together
And
as far as
how do we do that?
well, typically your email provider should be doing that stuff for you, but there's a lot more to it. I was on a webinar, I think it was yesterday or day before, with Big Jason. I don't know if you guys have heard of Big Jason. It's Jason Henderson. I've known him for probably close to 30 years. When I first started into the hosting business, we both were basically working with Miva Merchant at the time. That was like the first commerce program around, and we were building commerce stores like they were going out of style using Miva Merchant back then. And Jason was always really good at developing stuff that was like helpful to the industry. So he's a great guy, does really good stuff. He's put together like a checklist, and let me see, I've got it here somewhere. I can share it with you guys. Let me share the screen here. So this is the checklist that he gave out on the webinar, and he's actually doing this work for Ryan Dice at Digital Marketer. So he's getting their email deliverability cleaned up. He actually provides this as a service. It's not cheap to have him do it, but it's not that, none of the stuff is that difficult to do. It's just a matter of whether you want to take it on yourself or you want to get somebody to do it or anything like that. But the records with email, you've got three basic records in place. You've got one that's called an SPF record. And I don't blame you guys if you've never heard of this stuff. This isn't stuff that's probably part of your daily life. And it really shouldn't be, because this stuff should be provided by your hosting services, whoever's hosting your email. They should be handling this for you on the backside, but hey, sometimes they just don't, or they miss it, or whatever. I had several of my clients that I provide hosting services for, and the data center that I use to set them up, this is supposed to be on their watch. And I found several of my clients that actually it wasn't in place. And I went back to the data center. I said, what's the deal? Isn't this aren't these standard records that you're supposed to put in place with every email account? And they agreed that yes, they were. And I'm like, well, why are they not here? So obviously they put them in and straightened it out. But the SPF record, that's one of them. The other one is DKIM, which what DKIM, I'm not sure what it actually stands for offhand, but it's like an SSL certificate for your website, only it's for email. And basically what it does is it tells, like when you send an email, the email goes to another server to accept that email. And it's like a digital certificate that when those servers shake hands to pass the data between them, it's saying, I'm validating that this is truly who I am. And the bottom line here is to prevent spam and prevent people from hijacking your mail server and sending garbage. That's really the bottom line here. It's to prevent that because, I've been in the hosting business since the mid 90s, and spam has been a very big problem for hosts. Anybody that's hosting email services, that's been a very big problem for a very long time. How many times have you opened your own email and you get an email that's to you from you that you didn't send? Right? Have you guys seen that? You get an email to you from you, and it's like, how in the hell are they doing this? Well, they're spoofing your mail, and it's really easy for them to do that. But now, all of a sudden, these big providers like Google and Yahoo and big mail services, they're just saying, look, we've had enough. We've had enough processing garbage, no more. So if you don't have that DKIM record in place, when you send the mail to Google or to Yahoo, and that handshake takes place and that record's not there, it's going to assume you're a spammer, and it's going to say, nope, you don't get through the gate. So that's why that DKIM record is so important. Now, another one is called DMARC, M-A-R-C. And what that one is that is a reporting tool. That reporting tool can be set up to send you an email with a log basically every day of what servers out there were using your email address to parlay the mail through. Like, some of you will be using a third-party source to deliver mail. Like for me, I have a CRM called Kartra. So Kartra, a lot of my mail, like the mail that you guys receive from me for these calls, comes from Kartra. It's my email address, but it's coming from the Kartra server. So what that DMARC record would do is it would send me a report that says, hey, you have mail going out off of this Kartra server over here, basically just to make you aware, so you know if your email is getting hijacked or not. So you got three things in place to kind of prevent all this. It's the SPF record, the DMARC record, which is just to report to you so you know what's going on, and the DKIM, which is that digital certificate that verifies your authenticity. So anyway, some of you guys are already aware of this and you've got this handled, but some of you are like, oh my God, I had no idea. And today is the day. This all went in place today. So what you might want to do is, when you're sending email to a Gmail address, put in there, hey, can you please just respond to let me know you got this?
Oh, yeah.
And if you're sending a bunch of mail to Gmail and nobody's responding to that, you can assume your mail is just going into a black hole. And that's bad. I mean, especially if you're running a business and you've got customers and you need to communicate with them, that's really bad. I personally have always encouraged anyone doing business online not to use free addresses, not to use stuff like Gmail and Yahoo and live.com and .me, all this free crap email. That's what spammers use. If I get solicited by somebody and they're using a Gmail address, I assume that's not a real business and it just goes in the trash. Well, now the big providers are making that same assumption and they're throwing it all in the trash too. So if you're on the wrong end of that stick, you're going to get whipped pretty hard. Because, as you know, email is kind of the lifeblood of most business. Most online businesses, that's your communication. If you lose communication with your customers, you can pretty much assume that's game over for you. So I'm going to put this up. I'm going to put this into a PDF and I'm going to put it up in the members area so you guys have this checklist. And this is kind of like how you warm your emails up. And, it's also, I'm going to put a link in there to the webinar that Big Jason did so you guys can hear right from him how he does all this stuff. And then he's got a course for sale on it. It's somewhat expensive. It's $1,000. And then for him to actually do this for you is another 5,000. So for most of you, that's beyond your reach. That's beyond what you're going to want to or even be able to spend. And I'm right there with you. There's no way in hell I'd spend $5,000 to have this done. You should be able to reach out to your email provider and make sure those 3 records are in place. They should be able to do that for you for free. And then maybe get, some sort of a more reasonable course, as far as, how you're going to address your deliverability. That's what this is called, deliverability. What is the ratio of deliverability is what's going to be really important to you. Like if you have 100% deliverability, that means every email you send is getting received. If you've got less than that, that means some of it's going to spam and possibly just going into what are referred to as the black hole. So I know this is, probably got a lot of you kind of freaked out right now. So if you've got questions or anything, just, feel free. I mean, this forum is here for you guys to ask. So Jim, go ahead.
Yeah, I have to admit I'm a techie guy. We work together on web design. You do hosting for 30 plus of my clients, and I was losing sleep like every couple hours last night, just with February 1st. One question I have is, when Google and Yahoo made the announcement, they said it was for people that send 5,000 emails. Is that a year at a time? What's
That
the
is,
probability of us little guys getting dinged right away? How much time do we have?
yeah, well, time is up basically. This is the day. I just today, this in fact, just this morning, I saw that same email that you're making reference to where it talks about the 5,000 emails. That to me was kind of a breath of fresh air. It was like, okay, they're not going to destroy the little guy completely because most of us are not sending 5,000 emails a day. And that would be like a daily limit, the 5,000. So I think a lot of us are off the hook on that, but if you don't have those 3 records in place, I think no matter what what amount you're sending, a lot of your mail is gonna go to spam.
I agree completely. And I've been I've been watching videos and reading articles, and thank you for this document. I'll see how good it is, but I've been getting complete conflicting information on the exact codes, and
Yeah,
still not sure exactly how to get the right code. I know if I send it to you, you'll add it to the DNS records, which I really appreciate. And it helps having you take a look at it to know,
yeah.
is this correct?
So in the DKIM record, that record, there's really nothing you can change. That's like a digital certificate. So that is generated from whoever's hosting your email. So that one, there's not really much you can do with. The SPF record, what that record is that record says what servers this mail should be coming from and what IP address to expect it from. So the recipient mail server can look at that SPF record and say, well, yeah, it's supposed to be coming from this IP, but it's not. So we don't trust it. So if you've got multiple providers, you can have a very complex SPF record. Now, on the DMARC record, that's the record that reports back to you. If
Yeah,
if you don't want to know, like some people just don't want to know. They don't want to look at a report every day and try and decipher it. So they can just set that to P equals none. And basically what that means is the record's in place, you're compliant, but you're not looking. You don't care, basically. Now they're not going to hold that against you. As long as the record's in place, they're going to accept it. But what you can do, there's a couple of different values in there. You can put an email address that you want the report sent to, and then that way that report will go to that email address. Now the report itself is not user friendly. It's going to be a bunch of gobbledygook that you have to decipher. And for most of you, it wouldn't be any fun at all. Like I can kind of scan through. I know what I'm looking for in certain things, and it's not that big a deal. But for most of you, you don't want to learn to read that crap.
So do you have to set up you can use your own email address or set up
Yes.
uh, like dmark at peakbusinesscoaching.com.
Correct. Correct. Now there's services out there, and I think Jason's got some of those in the document that I'm going to give you guys. There's services out there that will read that for you, decipher it, and basically tell you if there's a problem.
Okay.
And it's a good idea to like at least set it up to report to you a few times so you can at least like see if there's an issue. If there's no issue, then you can just turn it off. Just turn it off. And, if in the future, if you suspect something, you can turn it back on and get another report and check it out.
Okay. And for every domain based email, we need the SPF, the DKIM, and DMARC.
That's correct. These are per domain. It's
Gotcha.
not per email address, it's per domain.
Okay.
So basically any email address under that domain is going to operate under those records.
And do you have some resources, easy instructions on I I found out how in Kartra to get the DKIM. I did it in Aweber. Um, I'm not sure how to do it on Gmail platform or Microsoft 365 Outlook.
Okay. So on those, I'm not sure because I don't use Gmail myself. So I'm not really sure where they've hidden the button. Like in Kartra, they made it very clear. They put a drop down in there and it says DKIM keys or whatever. And then they'll generate the keys for you. You paste them into your DNS and you're done. They made it really easy. A lot of the providers out there that send mail on your behalf, like if you have an autoresponder, let's say you're using Constant Contact or Aweber or any of those, any MailChimp, anything that's sending email on your behalf, you need to do this for.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't make it obvious in their control panel, then you need to reach out to their support and say, how do I generate proper email verification for my DNS? Specifically, do I need to alter my SPF record? Do I need a DKIM record from you? What do I need? And they'll give that to you. If they're not up to speed on this and they don't know what you're talking about, you might want to look for a new provider real quick.
Yeah,
Because
and I've gotten these records from IT people as well. So
yeah.
um, we're working on two projects right now. What was the other question I had? And hopefully this is helping everybody on the call. I don't want to
Oh no,
dominate.
no, I'm
Um,
sure it is. I'm sure it is because we're all in the same boat with this one. There's nobody
yeah,
there.
that was it. How do I find IP address or addresses?
Those are going to be coming from your service providers if you're using any.
So do I need an IP address for Kartra, IP address for Aweber, IP address
Yeah.
for
Kartra basically generates all the records for you and those different records they give you, and everything is taken care of in there.
right? But I understand for the SPF record, we're only supposed to have one and we list multiple IP addresses. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. And in the case of Kartra, they actually have a different way that they've generated theirs. They're putting it into some kind of a it's almost like a reference file.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool. When I saw it, I'm like, that's really cool. I hadn't seen that before. But they're putting it together in a reference file for you. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what's confusing is the code, if you will,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
is different for different providers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of them do this in different ways. So it's not like there's a one size fits all for this stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wish there was, but
Yeah, and forgive my ignorance, but like does the IP address come from my computer or phone or device
It's the
or
server. It's the sending mail server.
sending mail server? Okay.
Yeah. If you're on a particular mail server, that is going to be the IP address. Now, you could potentially find that IP address by pinging it. Like if you know your mail server, you can open up a DOS window on your computer. And I apologize if any of you guys have your eyes just rolling back in your head right now. Some of you will know what I'm talking about, some of you won't. But if you go like on Windows, I don't know how to do this on a Mac, but if you're on Windows, you click on the little window icon in the bottom left, and it will open up and you can type CMD. CMD means command, and that will open up a black window that you can basically type in. And I just took you guys back in time to the 1960s. This is the way this stuff used to work. So CMD will open up that black window, and you can type the command ping, PING, and then a space, and then the name of your mail server. Like in my case, it's mail.internetdominators.com. And then hit enter, and it will run a ping on that, and it will tell you what the IP address of that mail server is. So that would be how you would find your IP address of your mail server if you needed it.
So your mail server is mail.internetmarketers.internet, sorry, internetdominators.com.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, and that gives you the IP address of the sending mail server. So that's the one that's important in that scenario. But for most of you, you're not going to have to worry about the majority of this stuff. Just reach out to whoever's hosting your email and say, hey, I am just checking in to make sure that you have a valid SPF, DMARC, and DKIM records in place for me. If you do not, please do that for me. And they should do that. That's really about all you need to know on a newbie basis. So that should kind of get the majority of you through this nightmare.
So you're doing
John,
that for all your hosting clients, John?
Yeah. Yeah, I reached out to the data center and I said, I need you to run a server-wide scope on this and see if there's any of these records missing. And they did. They found some.
And they're able to see what mail platform we're using?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Well, they're actually testing the internal services. They don't know if you're using like Outlook, or they're not detecting that.
So I have to get the code for each of my clients.
If you have an external mail server, like if I'm just forwarding mail elsewhere for you, then those records need to come from that mail provider, and then I can put them in the DNS for you. So anybody where I'm hosting your DNS and you have your mail hosted elsewhere, you would need to get those records and send those to me. And please, 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 if anybody does this, send them to me in text format. Don't take a picture of it, because it's I don't want to have to retype the code and make sure I get it right. I want to copy and paste it.
John, I have found that there are a couple of sites, if you Google them, about, and I forget what I put in there, but basically putting the records in, and you can go to these sites, you can put your email in there, and it'll tell you if it's done
Yeah.
for free, and
Yeah.
that'll tell you right where that, without having to do command prompts and all that stuff, I think.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that. And I know a lot of those resources are in this document I'm going to give you guys. There's different places where you can go and you can just put in your email address and it'll test it for you and all that. It's in the checklist I'm going to give you. So there are some easy tools out there. I think one's called Easy DMARC, and I think somebody just put a couple of them in the chat. So, but anyway, job one really is to reach out to your email provider and make sure you've got those records in place. Pick one of these tools that you'll get out of the checklist and just test your email. Make sure you're just doing your kind of 5-minute due diligence. You don't have to lose sleep over this unless you have a problem. If you have a problem, you need to fix it. It needs to be addressed. So, and I would say sooner rather than later. Now that said, let's just say that, okay, you checked, your records are in place and everything's in order. You're all good with your DNS records for mail. The next thing is there's another layer to deliverability, and that's called your reputation. So email has a reputation now. And if you're sending, and this is going to cause a lot of you should want to change your wicked ways at this point. If you have wicked ways, you're going to want to alter them. And a wicked way would be like, let's say you have an email list of 10,000 people. There's about 500 of those 10,000 that are actually your customers and they know you and they respond to you. The rest do not. If you continuously send email like on a daily basis to that 10,000 list and 9,500 of them ignore it, that's going to damage your email reputation. The more people that open, the more people that click, the more people that respond, two-way communication, that increases your email reputation. The higher your email reputation, the easier you're going to glide through and get your mail delivered. If you have all your records in place, but you've got a bad reputation, you're still going to get blocked. You're still going to get sent to spam. You're still going to have deliverability issues. So it's like, this is the time they're really cleaning up. They're really taking out the trash here. And I'm actually happy they're doing this because this is going to clean things up, hopefully, for a lot of people. I know, like for me as a mail provider, our server for the last at least 10 years, maybe more, our server blocks over 1 million emails an hour. For the last 10 years, our logs show over 1 million an hour being blocked, sent to black hole, in the trash, doesn't even get through our gate. It's pure spam. It's pure garbage. It's all coming from Russia and China, and it's junk. It's nothing you ever need to see. But that's what's going on. The people that are on the front lines that are providing these services, if they weren't doing that for you, you would be just swamped with garbage. You'd open your email box and you'd just close it. You'd say, oh, hell with that. That's useless. I can't do business that way. So this is just more cleaning up the garbage. So I'm very thankful for it, actually. But it is going to cause some turmoil, and it is going to cause us, to do better at what we're doing. It's kind of like, there's so many people in the digital marketing space that have opened businesses, and it's like there's no barrier to entry. Anybody can do this. Up to now, like anybody could just open up a website and open up an email account, and you got a few bucks out on the line, but you can do business just like the big boys. And it's just kind of separating the men from the boys here, or the women from the girls if you're in that category. So the long and short of it is you just need to do things right, step up your game. You can't just go through this internet life clueless anymore. It's not going to work for you. So sorry to be the bearer of bad news. It's not me. I'm just carrying the message for you guys. Nobody shoot arrows at me when I turn around. It's not me. So, all right. Any other questions about that? I'm gonna do my best to send you guys some resources and stuff where you can check this out for yourself. Make sure that you're in order, and if not, I'll do my best to help anybody out however I can.
Did you say that paid email service would have no issue, would have no problem, and just stop using Gmail and these servers?
No, that really, I wish I could say that's the case, but it isn't.
Okay.
The only thing that does for you is again, from a reputation standpoint, like if you sent an email to me from a Gmail address and I didn't know you, I'm probably not going to pay attention to it. Unless it's got just a really good headline and you're really good at marketing, you're going to lose me right out of the gate. That's just something, I've learned to look for. Like I get a lot of people that send me offers for services and stuff, online services. And if it comes from one of those addresses, it's like they just lost 50% of credibility with me. I'm going to really it's going to have to really be good for me to look any further than that. So if you're running a business, this is like the difference between if someone were to come to your business and they show up at your address and it's a PO box, right? That doesn't instill a lot of trust. Now, I know there's a lot of businesses that run fine off of a PO box, but when somebody is going to do business with you and send you money over the wire that's never met you and all that, that just doesn't instill a lot of trust. Anybody can get a Gmail address and good luck finding the owner of that Gmail address, right? You'd have to have a subpoena from a court to get that record from Google. Otherwise, they're going to say, oh, buzz off. You're not my problem. Not my problem. But if you buy a domain and now you're doing business under that domain, that's a lot easier to figure out who owns that and verify that they're legitimate. Right? It's really hard to verify that somebody's not a scammer using a free email address on some third-party system. But when you get a domain, you're stepping up, you're saying, hey, guys, this is me. I want to do business. Here I am. Let's get to know each other. It's a trust factor. So if you're online to do business, if you're online for social, then just throw everything I just said out the window. That's fine. You can do whatever you want on the social side of things. But if you're here to do business and you're here to offer a service in exchange for money, there's a little thing out there called trust. And if you don't have it, you're not going to be very effective doing business online. And when you think about it, why do you need to hide? Because that's what you're doing. You're hiding. Like I see this all the time. You'll have a commerce site up and they won't have a phone number on the commerce site. Why is that? To me, that's a little bit of a trust issue. How do you contact these people? They're hiding. Do you really want to take your credit card and put it over and hand it over to somebody that's hiding? Right? I don't know. Sounds a little shaky to me. The whole privacy thing. Here's something. Internet marketers are notorious for this. They'll buy a ton of domains and they'll make them all private, right? They're hiding. Do you want to do business with somebody that's hiding? That tells you right out of the gate. They're probably doing some scammy shit. They're probably doing something they don't want to come back to them. They don't want their identity out on the front end of things. Now, a lot of you have been trained to do this by marketers that didn't know what they were doing, or they were teaching you to do stuff you probably shouldn't have been doing, and they were trying to protect you, one or the other. But it's not on the up and up part of doing business online. So, like if you're in the SEO field and you're building a bunch of, feeder sites and all that kind of stuff, I could see how you wouldn't want that to come back to you. But that's not doing business. That's a scheme to get your ranking higher. So if you're on that side of the fence, then okay, you get a free pass. But if you've opened a business where you're going to transact money, you don't want to hide. register that domain privately and try and hide behind the Privacy Act. That's not going to be in your favor. You know, credit card companies for a long time, they would not even give you a merchant account if you didn't have full contact details on your site visible, public. You know, that's kind of, they've gotten really lax over that over the last 5 to 10 years. But in the very beginning, you were not going to get a merchant account unless they verified that all your contact info was on your website and you said you were who you said you were. And, you know, they'd give you credit checks and all kinds of stuff to get a merchant account. And then all of a sudden, Stripe shows up on the scene and PayPal shows up on the scene. And again, you know, you can now hide a little bit behind that stuff. And I think just to compete, I think the Visa and the MasterCards of the world, they kind of loosened up the restrictions on what they would allow because of that. So Paul, you had your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so last time, I mean, I registered a lot of domains, but last time I did one on private, my phone was ringing off the hook with web developers in India.
Yeah, it doesn't really mean it's private in all aspects. You know, like some of these guys have figured out if they become a domain registry, they have access to the details behind the curtain. So it doesn't really hide you from those guys, but what it hides you from is the general public, the ones you want to do business with. So to me, there's just no reason for it. It's just a flat ripoff. You know, they're charging you for stuff you don't need and stuff that's going to damage your reputation. So
Is
But
there a way to
John,
get around these people from blowing up my phone though? Can I, put like a Google Voice number on it?
you could, I mean, you don't really, when you register a domain, I don't think in most cases they have a verification that you even have to put a real phone number in there.
Oh,
Some of them do, some of them will do phone verification. But I think a lot of them, like I don't know that GoDaddy does. I think they give you the option to do your verification through email, not through phone.
John, Namecheap actually gives you the privacy automatically. And the reason that I have mine private, I have all my contact information on my site because they make it there. That's okay. But
Yeah.
if it's public, they get scraped. That's why I do those unique emails to everybody. I'm on GoDaddy 3 or 4 at this point because they scraped it, and I start getting junk to that, so I have to cancel that. I mean, the privacy, is that privacy really that big an issue? Because I've not run into have I just not run into that wall yet?
Well, you know, it just depends on who you're trying to do business with. Like again, in ACT starts with analysis of your market. And then it moves on. Once you've identified the profitable segment of your market, then you look at the avatar. You start building an avatar sheet. And your avatar is really the person that's going to hand the credit card over. So if that person is unsophisticated, if the market you're serving and, you know, they don't care, then it's not a big deal. But if you're selling high ticket items and somebody is going to be considering giving you a couple $1,000s and never having met you face to face, they're probably going to look you up. They're probably going to go to who is and say, who's behind this domain? And when they see private and you're hiding, that's where you're going to have an issue. So, you know, it's totally up to you though. Like, you know, is that meaningful to your particular business? And if it is, then it's something to consider. If it's not, then give it the consideration it deserves and pass it by. So it's totally like everybody's business is different and unique. So you have to look at like what is right for you, what's right for you, what you're doing, who you're doing it with, and all that. So it's a very, very fluid. There's no one size fits all, unfortunately, in here if you want to be successful. If you want to be successful, I mean, follow the ACT program. That program was developed out of ad agencies. This is the way they've done it for over 100 years. And they do it very successfully over and over and over. The system almost never fails. If it's followed, it almost never fails. It can't. It's like the first step is segmenting the market. Like if you think you know what your market is, you segment the market. And the reason you're segmenting it is to figure out how many different people you're going to need to talk to, how many avatars you have in that segment. For me, the first thing I do after I segment and I've got the buckets of people, I look in the buckets and see, okay, which one of these buckets is going to be the most profitable? That's where I'm going to start. That's where I'm going to dive into that bucket and say, okay, who am I talking to here? Who is the avatar? What's important to them? What do they want? Why do they want it? And if I can't find a profitable bucket, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to take that whole business idea and I'm going to crumple it up and I'm going to throw it in the trash and I'm going to start over. I'm not going to build a business around a non-profitable market sector. I'm just not. I don't want to fail. And you're going to fail if you do that. That's why the ad agencies have this protocol in place to make sure that when a company comes to them and gives them 100 grand, they don't get egg on their face. First thing they're going to do is validate the idea by market segmentation. They won't start building a campaign like act in the C and act. That's creation. That's when you start creating your messaging. That creation of all that messaging is going to be based on the analysis and the A of act. And as most of you know, T is traffic, and that comes last. So you have to do it in order if you want to be successful. I know everybody's antsy. They want to dive into traffic before they've figured out the messaging. It's just going to be expensive. The last thing I want to see you guys do is burn money on expensive traffic that you have no
I'm
ability
trying to do too many things at once.
Oh,
so,
it's just that's the worst thing in my opinion that you could do is waste money. And in my opinion, that's the best way to do it is dive in and start spending money on traffic before you've got your messaging figured out. And it's impossible for you to figure out your messaging without doing the analysis. So this is all meant to go in a very linear sequence. It's not meant to like pick and choose. Like say, oh, I love building funnels. Let's just do that. Or I love doing SEO. Let's just do that. You've got to start at the beginning and you've got to build your business around something that makes sense or it's going to fail. This has been documented very well over history. I mean, Forbes runs an article almost every year saying the exact same thing. The percentage changes slightly. I think last year it was 82% of businesses going to fail within the first 18 months. Guess what? That 18 months is going to be long and painful and expensive for that person that just failed it. And then they go into the 3 biggest reasons for the failure. And the first one was not having a profitable market. The second one was having an inability to communicate their value to that market. And the third one was not getting the message in front of that market. That is ACT. That's the advertiser's protocol. It's just never been put together and handed to you on a silver platter like what I've done. So I hope that you guys are really taking that to heart and using it. It'll save you a lot of frustration. It'll save you a lot of time and failure. Like when I talked about what I would do if I couldn't find a profitable market, I'd wad it up and throw it in the trash. I am not going to spend 18 months failing. I'm going to fail in 30 seconds and be on with my day. If I can't fail it in 30 seconds, then I'll look a little deeper and I'll try and fail it in 2 minutes. If I can't fail it in 2 minutes, I probably have a tiger by the tail. And then now I got to decide, do I want to ride him or not? But I can do that in 2 minutes over and over and over. I don't need 18 months. I don't need to spend a bunch of money. I don't need to spend a bunch of heartache. So, Mr. McLean, come on out. What do you got for us today?
Hey, so is the second best way to waste money buying a boat? Is
Oh
that-
no, that's the best way to spend your money.
Oh yeah, I got that. Wait, I gotta write that down somewhere. Okay,
I don't know.
got
In my
it.
case, it was the best way to waste money. But anyway, I didn't have a good
Oh,
like John does.
if
Oh,
if you
yeah.
know how to make money, that is one of the best expenses you could possibly have, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. That's awesome. I have a quick question for you. Uh, I'm at the part of my website where I'm going to put in the terms of use and the privacy statement.
Gotcha.
What's the best way to, should I just I thought I'll just go to John and copies his and but then I saw the disclaimer. It's like, hey fool, this is from the
Yeah.
lawyer and the law firm
Yeah,
and
I use FTC Guardian for mine.
what is that again, please?
It's FTC Guardian is the company that I use for my terms and services. And there is a link on the bottom of my homepage on Internet Dominators if you want to get the best deal they have, which is a lifetime deal. I think it is, if they haven't changed it, they had a special deal for me for my customers at $4.97, and it's a lifetime deal.
For $4.97? That's crazy.
And
Okay.
it's good. The deal through there is good for any business you've got. It covers as many websites as you want. All of that. They're supposed to be owned by you though. It's not like, you can get that and then buy those and sell them to everybody. Right.
Right. No, that makes sense.
And
And
now, on the other hand, if you're just bootstrapping and you're just starting up, there's a little saying, if you don't have anything to lose, don't spend money to protect it. Right. So if you're just starting up and you're bootstrapping and your limit of exposure is fairly low, like, in a startup case, your limit to exposure pretty low with somebody coming in and suing you, right?
Okay.
So that being the case, and this isn't legal advice by any means, and if you get in trouble, don't point the finger at me, but I'm just telling you common sense here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of boilerplate agreements online that you can get. There's this new tool. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Google.
Is that 1 0 or 2?
You can go on there and you can put in like boilerplate privacy policy for my website. And you will probably find all kinds of free versions of that. You can copy and paste and you'll be just fine to get yourself started.
Okie dokie.
I never want anybody to spend a bunch of money before you need to. Like, you get your business up and running and you're making 10 grand a month. I would say that's the time. Okay, let's tighten up the screws here. Let's go back and actually get stuff from a law firm that's going to stand behind me. That's the time you want to pony up and do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's just my non-legal opinion.
Got it. Okay. I think for now I'll just go to, find a boilerplate and just have something in there and do that. So I have two
And
questions about that. Go ahead.
Here's a couple that you need. You need a privacy policy.
Yep.
If you have testimonials on your site, you need a testimonials disclosure. That's to protect you from the FTC. If you're selling something and you're making any kind of claims, which if you're selling something, I guarantee you're making some kind of claim.
Yeah.
You need the claims. I forget what they call it. If you look at my site, you'll see that I've got them all down there. But there's one that basically says these results are not typical.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what it's covering.
Okay. That's very helpful. So privacy policy. I'll look for a testimonial disclaimer. Where does that go? Does that just go next to
There's another one called an earnings disclaimer. If you're selling something that somebody could potentially make money with, and you're saying, hey, Sue Johnson made X amount using my program.
Okay.
That's earnings disclaimer. You have to have the disclaimer in there that, I'm not saying you're going to make $1. I'm
Yeah.
not saying you're going to make anything.
Got it. Okay. So the list is the privacy policy, testimonial disclaimer, the earnings disclaimer, and I forget there was one last one.
That's the one I didn't know the name of, but if you just look at the
Okay.
bottom of mine, you'll see all the stuff I've got on there and
Right.
decide basically if you need this or not.
Okay. And then I would do the terms of service as well.
Yeah, terms of service is basically just your terms of service. Like if you have a 30-day money back guarantee, that would go in your terms of service.
Oh, so I could just write that one myself.
Yeah, it's whatever your terms for your business are.
Fantastic. I'll just put in there, hey, if you have any questions about this, contact John Limbacher. Fantastic.
I mean, all you got to do is just look at my site. Just go to internetdominators.com. At the bottom of the site, it's got all those links to all that stuff. And
Okay.
the link to FTC Guardian is right there as well, if you want them to do that for you.
Gotcha. And one last thing about the Guardian, FTC Guardian, didn't you mention that by paying, the advantage of paying for that service is that they will update it or refresh it? Like if there's a new regulation or if there's a new requirement by the government for privacy. Did you mention?
For a while, I thought they were doing that on the fly, but you have to actually go in and update it yourself on the back.
Okay.
But what it is, they give you a code. They give you a snippet of code, and you put the snippet on your site, and then they populate it with the policy.
Oh,
It was my understanding originally that they were populating it and they were updating it all through the population of that little widget. But I later found out that you have to literally log back into their account and update it, and then it'll repopulate automatically then.
okay. Does that snippet interfere in any other way with any other code you put in the body or header, footer, stuff like that?
No, it's basically an iframe. So
Oh.
it's just a box that this content lives inside. Has no
Okay.
interference with anything else on the site.
And all right, and I swear I have one last question about this. Whenever I get some, if you were going to do the bootstrap way and just get all these things, is it worth going into all that paperwork and adjusting it? Like, do I have to go in and get my name and change anything around, or well, I'll look at it and see, but for the boilerplates, are they just slap them in there?
Yes. No. What you do with a boilerplate agreement is you open it up in Word.
Yep.
You find the word you want to replace. They always use the same word over throughout the whole
Okay.
document.
Okay.
So you just do a find and replace. Like if it says company name, you highlight company name, you replace it with your name, your company name, and it'll do it throughout the whole document. Just do a find and replace and do replace all.
Yeah.
And it'll tell you how many places it replaced it.
Yeah. I'm glad I asked. So it's not just a drag and drop. All right. Well,
No,
hey,
it's a boilerplate, but you do have to edit it with your info. You need to put your contact information. You can't use John Doe. He doesn't own your business.
all right. Hey, thanks.
You know what John Doe owns?
Jack Squat.
No, this company.
Oh, I see. There
Or
you
it
go.
says this company in the contract. That's what he owns.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks. That clears it up really well. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. All right, Jason, go ahead.
Oh man, this whole email thing makes me sick to my stomach.
Yeah,
But
you're in good company.
I just want to make sure I kind of got this clear. Basically, wherever we have domains registered, essentially in the DNS records is where we need to have the DKIM, the DMARC, and the SPF, correct?
Yes. Now, a lot of you have a bunch of domains registered, but you might not be using email on them. If you're not using email, this is completely irrelevant.
Okay. Now, what if you're using like I have a couple where I have Mailgun, and then I have one where I'm using Instantly. Do I have to go into Mailgun and do it, or do I do it in the DNS with like Namecheap or GoDaddy, or do I have to do it in both?
So what you do is you go into the Mailgun, for instance,
Uh-huh.
you ask them, what are the records I need in my DNS? And they will give those to you.
Yeah.
And then you have to put those in the DNS of wherever you're hosting your DNS records.
Okay. Because I just looked at the couple emails I have in there, and it says I have D Kim, I think, and an SPF there, but no D Mark. And I'm assuming so I have to ask them, what records do I need from there to go put into GoDaddy or Namecheap or wherever it is the thing is, and I just put that in the DNS records. Okay.
That's correct. And just so everybody knows this is clear, SPF is a standard record that they should put in by default. And so is DKIM, but DMARC is an optional. So generally your mail provider won't create a DMARC for you. That's something that you need to do on your own. But DKIM, remember, that's like the certificate of authentication for that email, for that domain. So that one is for sure, you got to have it. That's something that they need to provide for you. And the DMARC is the optional one that at this point has now become mandatory for certain providers to get your mail through.
Okay, where do you get the DMARC again?
DMARC, you can either ask your host for a standard one, and all it has to say is I can actually, when I put the stuff up in the members area for you, I'll put a standard one in there that's the minimum base you can get away with. And all it says is P equals none. It's a
Okay.
P equals something or other and P equals none. And all that does is it says, report, but just don't send it to me. I don't care.
Okay. And then okay, so that's what we need to do for those. And then the other question I have is for acquisition error, which is obviously, email is the main thing for it. And there's a very high deliverability rate on those. How is it going to affect it if, you send out something and nobody opens it? Is that you're just gonna have to burn through email address after email address until you get it right? Or
it's the same thing. When we're basically talking about email deliverability here. So it doesn't matter if you're sending messages out using acquisition error, or you're sending them out through your regular email address, or you're sending them out through Kartra. It doesn't matter if this stuff isn't taken care of, you're going to have deliverability issues higher than what you already have. Now, like I saw this morning, it's not as bad as I originally thought. I thought this was going to be like, they were just going to burn it to the ground. I really did think they were going to do that, but they've kind of let us off the hook with that thing that says, and it's in the fine print too. It's not like big and bold out in the front runner, where it says, this is going to mainly affect people with a threshold of 5,000 email addresses. That's a day. Most of you are not sending 5,000 a day. So now where it puts us on the scale of from 5,000 down to 0, I don't really know what that looks like. I don't know if they're just going to completely leave us alone and let us be. I doubt it. I think it's probably going to be some sort of a sliding scale in there. And Google's big on algorithms, so they're gonna make it impossible to figure out. And what they're trying to do, they just want everybody to comply. They don't want to like kill and burn the world to do it, but they want to scare everybody, and they're really good at that, and they've done a good job. I can see the fear in your eyes. So they just want us all to be good citizens and do the right thing. That's really the basis of it. Everybody thinks, oh, Google's evil, they're out to destroy us. No, they just want things done right. And you can't blame them for that. It's their sandbox. They don't want people peeing in their sandbox. And that's, I mean, SEO, the whole industry was all about peeing in Google Sandbox. They didn't like it. They didn't like it the first time it happened. They don't like it today. So if you can if you can get upwind and pee in the wind and mist it so they can't see it, the pee still gets in the sandbox, but they can't do anything about it.
So one last question, just in your professional opinion, as far as reputation, your reputation score goes with this, how much of it is going to be, you think, people actually opening it and clicking on stuff versus just like 99.6% of it goes to a good email address?
The reputation, I believe, and again, I'm not an email expert at this. I know like the basics. I know more than most. I'll say that, but I'm not an expert in this by any means. My belief and my opinion is the interaction. And I'm thinking this because of what I know about Google and how they've shifted over the last decade to interaction. Interaction is going to be the key. Like how many people open it, how many people click, how many people respond and have two-way communication. That you cannot spoof that. That is going to be what they're going to lean on. If they're not doing it now, I guarantee you it'll be very close in the future.
Okay, and then when will we get access to that document you were talking about? Because I really, really want to see that.
I'll put it up today. I'll get it up there right after the call for you.
And where can we access that at?
I'll put it in the resources, like in the ACT membership.
Oh, ACT membership. Okay, awesome. Oh man, thank you, John. I don't know what I'd do without you, bud. I really appreciate your knowledge on this, man. It's just crazy, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I've been at this for so long. I've, a lot of the stuff that just seems second nature to me, it's because of 25 years of just like one bite at a time. Believe me, I didn't eat this elephant all in one bite. The stuff I know has been layered on like one needle in the haystack at a time. So it's going to take you a while to digest it all. All right, Ken, go ahead.
Yes, hi, John. When you were talking about the emails and Gmail, I picked up a little bit of negativity. We have been with Gmail, the same email address, for 29 years. I don't think it's a good idea for me. I mean, our email is out there, thousands and thousands of places. How can I change my email?
Well, if it's working for you, I'm not here to upset your apple cart. If it's working for you, I that's fine. To me though, what I can tell you, like if are you using the actual whatever dot or at gmail.com?
Yeah.
Okay. So all I can tell you is for me, like if I were your avatar and you were trying to get my attention, you'd have a hard time doing it with that. Now, going back to ACT, I might not be your avatar. Your avatar might be perfectly fine with a Gmail address. And that being the case, I would take the weight of what I said and I'd crumple it up and throw it in the trash. So like I said, everybody's going to be different in this. Like when I say something, it's not like it's set in stone and it's the word of God and you've got to do it or you're going to get destroyed. It's like everybody has different circumstances and different situations and the rules don't apply across the board. Gmail, what I can tell you that's good and positive about Gmail is Gmail has been a really good, solid email provider since the beginning because of their horsepower. The horsepower of Google to be able to control spam and knock that stuff out and all that, they've provided a really good service. It's just, they were providing service for the world, like consumers. A Gmail address is more to me, more of a consumer type thing. Like I wouldn't hold a Gmail address against anyone that was one of my customers. But all I'm saying is from a business perspective, if you're going to stand up and say, I am ABC company, like I'm Internet Dominators. Internet Dominators is not going to send you something from Gmail, right? I'm not Internet Dabblers. I'm Internet Dominators. I've got my own email server. I'm a real company. That's what that's saying. Gmail says, hey, you know, I'm just like you. I'm a consumer, but I want to do business with you. You can trust me with a big smile. You can trust me, but you'll never find me. Now, again, your avatar might not care. Your avatar might not be sophisticated enough to care about that. So it may not matter. So, but I would really encourage you to go through the ACT program and look at your market, segment your market, figure out like what's the most profitable segment, and then dive into that. Really figure out like who are you selling to and what is important to them. You know, if security is important to them, then that might be a consideration. If trust is important to them, that could be a consideration. You know, and you might be doing just fine right now. You might be selling 100 grand a year off a Gmail address. All I'm saying is if you do the research and you come to the discovery of, hey, this might be costing me some money, and you change it, you might go from 100 grand to 200 grand. So is that true? I have no idea, but I would guess to say it might be somewhat accurate if you find that in your market research. People leave a lot of money on the table not doing that analysis piece.
I just joined your group and I will do the ACT program starting today.
I would highly recommend it. Now, for any of you guys that are going through it from scratch, you're just starting, there is some stuff in analysis that is out of date. I have not had a chance to update it yet and bring it up to speed. There's some tools that I was going through trying to make it easier for, you know, for people to do market analysis and stuff. Some of those tools have gone by the wayside and some of them have changed radically. Like I did a segment in there on Facebook audiences. And I believe at this point, I think all that stuff has been removed from Facebook now. So if you find stuff that, hey, it's not matching up, just know that that might be, you know, some expired information. You still need to do the same type of analysis. In fact, yesterday, I put a new tool in there that somebody had turned me on to. It's called Spark Toro. And Spark Toro, they have a free version of it. You can get, I think, 20 searches a month using Spark Toro. And it'll give you a lot of data about your avatar. It'll tell you a lot of market research, demographics, stuff like that. It's a lot of the stuff I was trying to get to with these other tools and other methods that I was teaching early on that have gone by the wayside. So check out Spark Toro. But just know that when you're going through that, everything from that point forward, like the creation, that'll never change. The way you do the creation portion of ACT is never going to change. The traffic will change based on new traffic techniques. Like we've got acquisition now. That's not in there because that wasn't available when I created that program. There's stuff that will come and go in traffic. And in traffic, you're going back to analysis, figuring out, okay, I know who I'm targeting here. Where do they hang out? That's where your traffic sources are going to come from. So just know that when you're going through that there might be some stuff that doesn't mismatch, and don't think I'm a nut job and just doing stuff that doesn't work. Just know that's a little out of date.
When will it be updated, John?
I'm actually going to probably do that in this first quarter is my goal, because I'm going to use AI. I'm going to go through and I'm going to show you guys how to use just the basic free version of Chat GPT to do almost everything you need to do in analysis. And then when I do that, I'll throw all that other stuff out the window, and I will have simplified the whole process. Very
So that would be this month or next month, maybe, is what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I actually have I've gathered all the resources. I literally just need time to sit down and just do it. But I have everything I need at my fingertips to be able to do that, other than just the time. And I was actually thinking about turning that into a live event. See, this is how I've done things over the last 25 years. If I need something done, I know I'll never do it on my own time frame. I have to make some sort of a commitment to somebody. So what I've done in the past is I say, hey, I'm going to do a live event. I'll take 6 people and we'll go to a place for a couple of days and we'll all just do this work together and then it's done. And I think I'm probably going to do the same thing, only this time we'll probably do it on my boat. I'll probably take 4. We'll go over to Catalina for a weekend and sit in a little deserted cove and we'll knock this thing out. So that's probably the goal. So I'll announce that. Anybody that wants to hop in and take advantage of that, we'll go do it. Go knock out some training. So, all right, Teresa.
You sure you want to get into this?
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
Okay. I need help from maybe from the group. Let me tell you what I need. I know I've expressed this concern to a couple of people, and I need help with, first of all, the logic behind using SendGrid and then having those responses go to Kartra. So I've got a landing page in Kartra, as lame as it might be, and I'm sending my acquisition air leads through SendGrid. And the difficulties that I'm having, my first difficulty is, other than simply giving the URL for my the URL in the SendGrid email to the landing page, I can't do anything else. I mean, I don't know how to put a form in SendGrid, and I don't know how to then, when somebody fills out the form, where do we go from there? I haven't been able to figure that out yet. And then I just read, I can take the SendGrid form and put it into Kartra, they say, but I haven't figured out how to do that either. So I need a techie.
Okay, so let me give you the logic behind it of
Okay.
what you're doing, why you're doing it, and what you want as an outcome. So when you're using Acquisition that's a traffic platform that generates leads from people that have just searched for a particular keyword.
Right.
So we've got somebody that we know is interested in something because of their action. So we just got their email. Now, because that person hasn't really opted into us, they're not a hot, well, they might be a hot lead, but they're not our hot lead yet. So it's cold email. You're reaching out to them, they don't know you. So it's cold email. Kartra frowns upon that. So to not get your Kartra account banned, we were very leery of piping those leads into Kartra for any kind of follow-up.
Yeah, they won't take.
So it's just not a good idea. So the logic is, okay, let's put Kartra over here. This is where we want them to be after we warm them up. But we're going to use SendGrid because SendGrid is a cold email program. It is made.
Not according to SendGrid isn't.
Well, it is.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it.
It's not made for like sending out 100,000 cold emails. It's not made for spam. It's a safe way to send cold emails one at a time. It's not a spam program. They will not admit to that. although a lot of people are using it for that, but they don't want that to be on the front burner. So that's why they say that. But they have no problem at all sending email one-off to people you don't know, right? Kartra does. Kartra does have a problem with that. So that's why temporarily we're going through SendGrid to do that. Now, Kartra, here's let me walk you through just the linear first. So we get the lead, we put it in SendGrid, and it's okay to send that person mail from SendGrid. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get them to say, yes, I would love what you have to offer. Give me more information. That's where your form comes in. So we want to direct them to Kartra because we want them to fill the form out on Kartra. Now they're a warm lead in Kartra. Now Kartra Mail can take over and do all the response from there forward. So that's our goal. That's what we're trying to do. Now, when you get a cold email acquisitionnaire, the first thing you need to do is create interaction with it. Now for this, we're going to fall back to something I've taught many, many times in the past is micro commitments. You know, you're basically putting a date offer out there. You know, would you like to go on a date? The difference being, you know, I'll meet you at Starbucks for a cup of coffee versus let me pick you up at 8 and we'll go out to dinner. That's a much bigger commitment on your part because you have to decide, do I want this person to know where I live? Do I want to get in their car? Do I want to be held hostage and hope they bring me home at the end of the night? That's a big decision versus a micro decision of, yeah, I'll meet you at Starbucks, no problem. See how there was no hesitation? It's just yes. It's an easy yes. Versus, oh, well, let me think about all these things that could go wrong. And there's a lot of reasons to say no there. So think micro commitment when you're starting a relationship of any kind, whether it's a relationship between two people for intimacy or two people that are going to transact business together. It's the same thing. It's a relationship you're creating. Micro commitments will win the game. So first email comes in, you're not asking them to click a link. You're not asking them to fill a form. You're saying, hey, I have information that might be really valuable to you. Let me know if you're interested. I'm happy to send it to you. Micro commitment.
So, but then if you're saying, I have this bit of information for you, you're getting their contact information. You're getting them to opt in, as it were.
No,
and
no.
that's my challenge.
All you're getting them to do on that first round is to say yes.
Okay.
So
They say
respond.
yes, and then you send them another email?
Yes. Now what you've done, you've just
Oh.
warmed up your email. You've created an email reputation that's going to be absolutely stellar. You're doing everything right. You've
Okay.
started the communication with a micro commitment. So let's say they respond, say, yeah, Teresa, that sounds great. I would love to have that. Could you send it to me? And then you respond back with another email. Absolutely. I have it up on my website. It's free. All you have to do is just tell me where to send it. Here's the link. Now they go to your landing page, they put their name and email address in, which you already have their name and email. So it's not a big thing for them to give that to you again to get this free thing. You see the difference in the relationship? You're taking a bad situation of a cold email asking for the person's contact information versus a light introduction telling them, hey, I've got this cool thing. Just let me know if you're interested or not. It's like you drop the bomb and walk away. And if they follow you, you got them.
Okay.
If they don't, you know, it's like a lifeguard. You save those you can save and you let the sea take the rest. I love that. Don't fight them. Don't chase them. Don't badger them. drop the bomb and walk away. Your conversions will go through the roof doing that. I'm not saying not to ever follow up with them, but you know, if you can do it in that way, and think about it, think about it like this from a logical standpoint. You're offering, let's say you're offering tax resolution. I have a tax problem. I go on to Google or I go on to, you know, a tax site and I run a search in the search box. Oh my God, I just got an IRS notice. What do I do next? And now all of a sudden I get an email from Teresa that says, if you get an IRS message, don't do this. I am going to open that email. I guarantee it. Now you're going to say, hey, you know, I've created this document to save people a lot of grief and heartache if they got an IRS notice. If you'd like it, just let me know. I'm happy to share it with you. You damn Skippy, I'm going to tell you, please send me that. Right? That's an example of the scenario of how to effectively use acquisition error. And now you're going to respond back to me. You're going to send me to this web page. I'm going to download the free thing. And now the relationship begins.
Okay, so I missed the second step because basically I said, go to cherrytax.com to get this free report.
Yeah. Now, unless it's on your home page, you want to send them to the page that's only for this report.
Right.
Don't send them somewhere where there's a bunch of links and a bunch of stuff. Again, your micro commitment.
Got it.
When I
Okay.
get to that landing page, there should only be one thing for me to do. I
Mhm.
shouldn't have to decide, oh, well, do I want to look at all this other stuff? Or, you know, we're back to the too many decisions to make.
Okay, yeah, because my landing page has a bunch of junk on it.
Yeah, get
So
that
I
stuff.
just need a clean landing page. Got
Yeah,
it.
it literally follow the Frank Kern formula. Here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. Though, if you answer those three things, and you can usually do that in a single sentence, they're going to take you up on it.
That's cool. I knew I was making it more complicated than it is.
Yeah, yeah. Just keep them out of the weeds. You don't have to oversell it. Like, think about this. Like, if somebody were to ask you on a date, and think about the two scenarios, and let's go with the one that I believe would work. I'm going to show you how to completely fuck this up. And then you can decide not to do that. So I start off with, hey, Teresa, you know, I'd love to get to know you a little bit better. Can we meet at Starbucks? We'll have a cup of coffee and we'll have fun, right? And you say yes to that. And then I go into all the reasons and I try and oversell why you need to come and meet with me. You're going to go, oh, you know what? I just realized I can't do that. I've got something on my,
Doggone, I'm married. Gee whiz.
yeah. So don't go in the weeds on the stuff.
Got it.
If I can give you one gift for the rest of your life, is stay out of the weeds. Your people that you're trying to deal with don't want to go in the weeds. Don't take them there. Give them
You're
enough.
gonna have to eventually.
Well, yeah, after they've become a customer, now the relationship has changed again. You know,
Okay.
that's when you can get messy. That's when you can clean up. I mean, sometimes you got to get messy to clean things up.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
that is not in the buying decision. If you get messy in the buying decision, the decision's going to be no. Like, if I tried to sell you the ACT program and I told you all the work you're going to have to do, you'd say, oh, no, thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you out of the weeds. I'm going to get you to understand, hey, you really need this thing. I'm going to sell you what you want. You want it to be easy. It's not. I can't sell you on the fact that it's going to be hard. So I got to sell you what you want to buy, and then I'll provide what you need on the other end. And in the end, you'll be happy and we'll have a great relationship for the rest of our lives.
Cool.
But if I go in the weeds and I tell you how hard everything's going to be and all the shit you're going to have to do and all this, and you say no, we will not have a relationship past today.
Okay. Did I hear you say that SendGrid is most comfortable with single sends,
Yes.
that we shouldn't be putting together a sequence?
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. A single sent, I meant like a one-off email at a time. Like
Okay.
as the lead comes in, it's fired instantly. But
Right, and that's, I've got to get the API for that.
yeah, you're perfectly fine to do a follow-up sequence. That's not a problem.
Okay.
In fact, what we're working on right now, and this is something that I don't know why this wasn't clear as a bell to me to begin with. Kartra has done something for all of us that want to send mass email. They actually integrated SendGrid and Mailgun and a couple others into the platform. So if we're doing things outside of their parameters, what they're happy with the SendGrid mail or with the Kartra mail, they've given us those options to do that. Like when I was trying to send larger groups using my Kartra mail, I got a warning. They said, hey, we would recommend you use an alternative mail server to send large batches. So that's why I got SendGrid. So, because I have a couple of my list segments that are fairly large and they're fairly non-responsive in most cases. So when I was sending mail to them, they noticed, hey, the email reputation isn't very good with this send. We don't like that. And if you keep doing it, we're going to ban you from the Kartra mail. So that's why I got SendGrid to begin with. Now, in Kartra, what you can do is you can set up your mail to send through whichever mail provider you like. So what we're working on doing right now is to create an integration to where when the leads come in from Acquisitionaire, you'll have the ability to pipe those into Kartra. And when you go into Kartra, it'll create the lead. That's not a problem. It'll create tags. That's not a problem. And when it comes to sending an automated sequence based on a tag, we're going to select SendGrid to send that mail. So we'll not have a problem.
Yeah.
And then you won't have to configure things in SendGrid. You just configure things like you're normally used to in Kartra, and the world is going to spin faster. You watch.
Yeah, I made that presumption when you started talking about using, I've got one email address that sends things through Kartra mail, and the other I set up the SendGrid integration.
Yeah.
And I use it with my Cherry Text email.
Yeah. So we'll be able to use SendGrid to send the mail through Kartra. And it's going to, when we get that, it's going to make things so much easier. And that's close. I mean, that is on the chalkboard of one of the next 3 things that's happening inside Acquisitionaire. So once we do that, I will actually take you guys in and I will walk you through a setup of exactly how to set it up. Like I don't do that in SendGrid because I don't know the platform that well. Kartra, as you guys know, I know that one like the back of my hand.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll actually go in and I will take you through the exact process of how to set it up. And I'll even create a template that I can import, or you can import right into your Kartra account. And you don't even have to set it up. It'll be pre-set up for you.
Okay.
So that stuff is all on the very near road ahead for anybody that's using Kartra. We're also doing the same thing with Go High Level. So if you're a Go High Level user and you're familiar with their automations, we'll be able to pipe the leads through an API right into your Go High Level account for follow-up.
All right. Well,
So.
thanks for simplifying my life. I've been spinning my wheels for weeks.
And we're also building out several of the marketing pieces too for anybody that's in here that's trying to sell the things as an agency or running a white label and trying to do that. I know I put the brakes on that originally when I was getting hit when we were doing our launch. And I basically just came right out and said, oh, we're not here to do the marketing for you. We're just going to supply the platform. That was a little bit of a white lie just to take the heat off me at the time, because I didn't want expectations of, when are you going to do that? When's it going to get done? All that kind of stuff. But now we've got things, pretty well greased and rolling, and we're able to spend the time to do that now. So you'll see a lot of that stuff. Like if you go in, anybody that's in Acquisitionaire, if you go into the back office, the membership site, you'll see Brady has been working on that for the last month or two, and it's very well dialed in. He's got a ton of resources in there to make things easy. And, marketing brochures, there's videos, there's promotional videos, there's keyword tool, there's all kinds of stuff in there to make life easier for you guys. So that's a really big step in the right direction. And then once we get the integrations into Kartra, I will do that training. I'll find somebody that is a Go High Level expert, and I'll let them do the Go High Level training. And then it's like no holds barred. There's no reason not to just, blow that thing up to the moon. So we're also identifying, for those of you that just want to sell leads, we're identifying some of the most lucrative niches for this thing. We're finding that industries that have secondary search boxes are just absolutely killing it. So we're compiling a list of those industries. So if you guys want just the blue water, we'll be able to hand you the blue water on a silver platter.
I heard you mentioning solar industry and real estate, I think.
Yeah, solar, real estate, anything in the do-it-yourself category. That's really big. Anything in high-end luxury travel is really big. All those sites have secondary search boxes that we can just peel the information right out of.
Hmm.
And it's so blue water, no one's paying attention to it. Like when you go and when people run a search in Google, they just get inundated. They get inundated with stuff 6 ways to Sunday. But when somebody runs a search on Travelocity, for instance, looking for a luxury vacation, nobody's paying attention to them. We show up like a mind reader and say, hey, you want to go to Dubai? You need to know these 3 things before you make your travel arrangements. Guess what? The relationship just began. They're not going to be buying their shit through Travelocity. They're going to be buying it through us.
Perfect.
So there's
One more question. My affiliate links for, my affiliate links are like Teresa.Kartra. And a bunch of gobbledygook.
Yes.
Is there a way to change that so the people that I give the link to don't know it's me?
Absolutely. They're in your WordPress. This is an easy way to do it on your own domain. There's a WordPress plugin that you can make short links. I think they call it Pretty Links.
Yep, Pretty Links, John. It's one of the huge ones we use.
If you plug that plugin into your WordPress site, you can go in there and you can say, create me a link that's cherrytax.com/Kartra. And then you put the destination URL, your affiliate link in there, and then no one ever sees that. They just see the cherrytax.com/Kartra or whatever you want to put in there.
Okay. Interesting. Thank you.
That's the way I do all mine. I do that with all my affiliate links, and even Zoom, or schedule. Like instead of giving them the big schedule address, I just say, go to internetdominators.com/schedule. Even I could remember that. But if it was the big long schedule link, I'm like, yeah, I'll send that to you. I'll find it, send it. But
okay, so now I have to learn WordPress.
I can walk you through that. That's a piece of cake.
Okay, we'll do that another time.
Or, you know, Teresa, you can do like Tim did, and that is Tim bought simpleeasyleads.com. And you don't know how many John sees all the traffic coming there because I just tell everybody Simple Easy Leads because it fits my brand. And I just point the
Perfect.
domain to John's to John's affiliate link.
Thank
Because
you.
it
That's
fits my
brilliant.
brand, but but it sells his product. I'm not going to fulfill that product. He's gonna. So I just create the link and send him there.
Yeah.
Lovely. Thank you, Tim.
That's another good way to go too. All right, Mr. Porter.
Mr. Limbacher.
Oh God, it sounds like you're talking to my dad.
Yeah, I know the feeling. The SendGrid seems like it's written by programmers for programmers. I mean, it says SMTP. I know how to do SMTP. I've set it up all over the place. The first thing they do is says, do you want to use an API, which is, you know, aggravating programmer information, or you can do SMTP. And their first step in SMTP is set up an API key. Why? It says, and then put that into your application. I'm in the application. Where do you, I mean, I'm going nuts with this thing. It's taken weeks. And whenever you write them, because it's, you know, Twilio, which is, you know, as big as Google, it feels like, I get these letters back that never, and I've sent in probably half a dozen tickets and no ticket has ever answered the question I've asked. It's always been, go over here and go to these articles they've written, which are clearly written for programmers. And they say, which do you want to use? And they literally give you a list of 12 different programming languages to choose from. And I'm going, rumble spit. Well, even if you don't, I just heard you say that you're not familiar with SendGrid. If you're not familiar with SendGrid to the level you're familiar with Kartra, John, please don't have us use it. It's just because I have not been able to find anybody, even going on to Fiverr, people don't want to deal with SendGrid. So yes, Teresa's shaking her head. Yes, she's been down that same rough road.
Well, that's
You
exactly
make me feel so good because Richard, your
It just
language,
is-
I
it's-
don't even understand anything. I'm
I
sorry.
don't
David.
either. I mean, it's just, it's,
well, that's why, yeah, I mean, we just need to leave that one in the dirt where it belongs. That's why we're integrating into Kartra and Go High Level directly. So
well,
that
John, I wanted to start
program.
I was going to start my outreach in January, though, the first week of January, starting the 8th. And of course, what then happened on the 10th, our septic tank backed up and made the house uninhabitable. It's still uninhabitable. We're still trying to get the mess cleaned up. So I've already lost this month due to literally a shitstorm in the basement. And I can't get these emails out. I've got 18 email over 72 days sequence set up, but I can't get it set up anyplace and just hit send and have it send things the correct way. And I'm about ready to put a bullet in my brain over this thing. I mean, this is just making me nuts. And it should be easy. I mean, email should be the easy thing, and it's not happening.
Yeah, just hang tight there till we get that integration in, and that's going to solve all those issues. Until then,
well, what's the time frame on that, John? Because I mean, I'm already a month behind. So how many more months do I have to wait?
yeah, actually, I'm going to have Brady reach out on that one and find out, unless he knows offhand. I know he works mostly with the programmers.
I put myself in front of the gun, that's for sure. There is no timeline. Now, I say that as in I can't give you a definite date. I do know that Go High Level is probably first and foremost, just because there's so many people that have blasted us about it, but Kartra being right there as well. So
yeah. The Kartra one's going to be simple to do once they get the other one out of the way, because they've already integrated my account in there for all the billing and all that for the program itself. So all the hooks are already in place for Kartra. So that's not going to take them long once they can get to it.
I could reach out to tech, but I can just tell you they're going to give me a roundabout answer because they don't want to be held to anything either. So I would say at least 30 days, Richard.
Yeah, well, that I'm sorry to say, but for me, John wants to John wants to say yes or no to a business in 30 seconds, maybe 2 minutes or 5 minutes. I'm not up for waiting 30 days for this. I've got to be able to get something going here. And quite frankly, I'm sorry about Go High Level. Anybody in their right mind should never use Go High Level for all the reasons that John says, because I wasted 4 months with Go High Level trying to figure out how to get that programming to work. And here we're with John, we're with Kartra. Get the Kartra, get this. He's saying use SendGrid, but then won't tell us how to set up SendGrid, Brian. Brady, I'm not accepting that. If you're going to use SendGrid, you got to address SendGrid first. And that's the one that neither I or Teresa, who are sitting here the most loud on this call this morning, saying, please show us how to make SendGrid work, because it's going to be the basis of everything going forward anyway. And the Go High Level people don't have their heads in the right place anyway. So just are pointing in the direction of somebody that who does.
We got it, Richard. I had to mute you out there. We can't go down that rabbit hole any further. I'm going to deal with it. We'll get you handled. Randy, go ahead.
Hey, John. Excuse me. So I got in late. I've been listening to what I could, a half hour late, but so I ripped up the questions I had, and I got another couple questions. So, so you're saying, since I'm still fumbling around with funnels and I haven't even gotten there yet, but I know that's what I've got to work on first. Are you saying that by the time I get to my funnels and one or two are ready, that if I hold off and don't worry about SendGrid, you're going to be able to, in Acquisition Air, go ahead and integrate SendGrid and show us how to do that, so that when my funnels are ready, I'll be able, or even if it's one funnel, I'll be able to just connect and follow up.
Yeah, if you're doing Kartra, don't waste any time right now trying to figure out SendGrid. We're going to pipe it right through Kartra. We're going to use SendGrid, but you won't have to figure out how to manually configure SendGrid, because it'll be
so unlike Richard, I'm in no hurry there, although I'm kind of looking forward to it. The second part of that is, once I'm actually using Acquisition Air, how do I know that the leads how do we separate what's coming in from Acquisition Air? How do I know versus what's coming in the way they're coming in now?
Okay, so when a lead comes in from Acquisition Air and it comes into your Kartra account, it will be tagged with the keyword that it came in through, or the campaign, one or the other. And then that way you can segregate them by the tagging.
All right, awesome. So that's taking
specific to each campaign.
Okay, so that's the end of that for me. My final thing is, I heard you guys talking about the affiliate links, and so I have a weird question. Are you telling me if what I'm hearing, it sounds like where Teresa was saying about them not knowing that it's her involvement there. I guess, am I thinking that there's something wrong with letting people know that that's my affiliate link I'm giving them?
There really isn't, but if they see it's an affiliate, a lot of people and I'm talking about more sophisticated people, like the internet marketing people specifically, if they see it's an affiliate link, what they'll do is, you've now told them it was where it was in the link, they're going to go sign up as an affiliate themselves and try and get the affiliate code paid to themselves.
Okay.
They're going to try and scam the system, or they're going to cut your part out, your affiliate part out, and see if they can get a better deal.
Wow. I guess I did. I don't think that way. And I guess from a coaching perspective, if I'm giving someone or they're my client and I'm saying, hey, here's my affiliate link, it's going to get you a great deal, or it's a great product, go to it. I don't see them as, well, how do I cut him out?
And they may not be. Like, again, this falls back to your customers may operate differently. So it's all, like, everything that you do in business should revolve around your clientele, your customers, your prospects.
Yeah.
If they have different concerns, you need to address those. You know, if things are important or not, you need to take that into consideration when you're building your business around them.
Yeah. And when I'm coaching my clients, one of the things I'm talking to them about is creating affiliate relationships where they can, you know, create those kinds of relationships where if there's somebody that's offering something that they can turn around and help someone with, that they have an affiliate. So you know, build an affiliate relationship with people. And maybe affiliates, I'm using it two different ways. I'm not talking about selling and offering somebody's product or for them to be able to get help to someone else, but for coaches, that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, so it may not be a big concern to you, realistically.
All right, I'll take a look at it.
But that's why she was trying to do that. And it also, it can make it easier. Like, I know, like, if let's say you're on stage somewhere, you're not going to remember what your affiliate link is to rattle it off. So
True.
just from a point of making it easy to remember, like, I know all my affiliate links start with internetdominators.com. And then
Right.
it's / whatever the thing is, so I can remember them all. I don't have to go back and reference a database. I can just say, oh yeah, I know my Kartra affiliate link. I know my SCM Roche affiliate link. I know, probably 100 different affiliate links I could rattle off for you without ever referencing anything.
All right, so I guess I'll have to look at that and figure that out with you. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. All right. Manuel. You have to unmute.
Hi, John.
There
Hi,
you
John.
go. Hi.
Hi, everyone. I got some question here. I think, um, I do have I'm grandfathered into Groove, um, and I noticed I was checking, um, it integrates with also SendGrid. I've used SendGrid maybe 2-3 years back, and I got away from it. It does work really well. I did get a VA to do it for me. So the question I have is if I was to choose the two different things, because I haven't gone back totally with SendGrid, what is the question? What is the difference between SendGrid and say Aweber? You said SendGrid is not for cold, it's for cold email. So what's the difference between that and Aweber?
I'm not sure what the policies are in Aweber.
Okay.
You just have to kind of check with them. The only reason I really went with SendGrid originally was because SendGrid was integrated with Kartra, and I had aspirations of integrating Kartra in as well. So that was the only reason we picked that one to begin with. And I knew it was bulk friendly. I knew you could send cold email through it. At the time, I really wasn't aware of the complexities of actually configuring it and using it on its own as a standalone. So had I known that, I might have, dug in and picked something different. But it is what it is for the current time. And knowing that I'm going to have it integrated into the two, maybe not the biggest, but the two probably most popular CRMs for my clientele is the Go High Level and the Kartra. So
I see.
we'll get a big chunk of that satisfied in the short term.
Okay. If I was to go and forgo to Groove rather than Kartra, would you share your PowerPoint, the funnel that you have that I could possibly put into Groove?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Okay, and
absolutely.
I'll just okay. You were said some was talk about getting tagged because right now I'm just using for my brick and mortar business to get the leads which I'm getting, and I've developed a sequence, and I haven't put it on to SendGrid yet, but we're just doing it manually right now. Okay, we get some response. So the other part about the tagging, if it's coming into your own Google Sheets, I understand that one. But if I was to say I have a client, I should have their own Google Sheets, so will go directly into their system. Correct? into
Yeah.
their Google Sheets?
Yeah, like all tagging is really important. You've got prospecting tagging and you've got client tagging. And then like in Kartra, you have automations on top of that. So like when somebody comes in, let's say a new lead comes in, we're going to send it into Kartra so it generates a lead for that person, puts their contact information in, and then tags them with the campaign name.
Right. I apologize. I guess I didn't address my question or my point properly. Let's just say I sold the program, because since I have a white label, I'm creating a website and I'm
Okay.
still finishing it. And then they sold into they already bought into the idea because I have different packages. And then so what I would need to do is have their own Google Sheets set up, their email, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And in the program, when you bring them on as a client in your white label, it's going to create a separate Google Sheet for each of their campaigns.
Yeah, because I already had the test and I was so happy last week. I sold my 8 leads for $800.
Oh, nice.
Well, I told them it's 250,
Yeah.
each, because I'm looking at that. And I have 80, close to 90 leads, and I said I'd like to sell all this to you because I have no need, because it's a different niche. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm doing testing for different niche, and she said, okay. Days later, she said, okay, I'll buy. Instead of all these leads, I'll do a test lead for 8. I tell you what, I'll give you a good deal. If you buy 8, I'll double. I'll give you another 8 for 800, and she paid for it.
Yeah.
I'll just have to pay the tax or the fee, and she sent me the money too. And now, she wants me to work for her to promote, because I do the media blitz also, and
Sure.
create websites, as you know, for other clients. So I'm thinking about not only creating the websites but also creating a lead magnet, because I have a way to promote it organically, which is I'm getting leads organic that, so which is perfect.
Yeah, there's quite a few people that are building entire businesses around the acquisitionaire product, specific for different industries or what have you. But it's it's creating a lot of opportunity for a lot of people.
I have another meeting with the lady. She said, first she said, well, if you get referral, I'll give you 500 per referral. Well, I said, well, I got something better for you. I got this A1 leads, and so I'm gonna sit down here next week with her. The last one thing I want to do is, I wasn't here last week because time just passed, got away from me, and I noticed your new site has the bot on the side, chat bot. I was impressed. Okay.
Yeah.
I want that girlfriend on my side.
Well,
I missed that, so I need to get some information about that.
we're gonna actually make her available for you very
Okay.
soon.
I
So,
hope it doesn't cost.
yeah. So she's cheap.
Okay.
She'll be the cheapest employee you ever had.
Okay.
Hey, John,
One
speaking
last
of
question.
Becky,
I'm sorry,
sorry,
Brady.
speaking of Becky, John, Teresa said she needs legs. She's tired of seeing Becky's legs cut off when I had a call with Teresa yesterday. Just FYI.
Oh, you want to
Okay.
see her all the way to the toes? Is that it?
I think
Or,
so,
or,
yeah.
or you want to see midsection up?
I asked you and I asked Brady, and I want to ask the people, because I'm creating a website. Even though I'm using the white label, as you know, John, I don't want to use their name, and I think I saw Matt, and let me see who else that I had on the another person named Teresa, another person's Matt, and the person is Danny. I wanted to ask their permission because I know they were complimenting the AA, which I also did. But this all tied to you. But I rebranded my A1 leads, both search and A1 leads, and I want to ask the permission or anybody who can give me, and I would like to put only the first name, last name, of course, through you with John, if that's okay with you, and put their testimonial.
I think Brady's already got permission from everybody that he's put onto the membership site.
Right.
I believe there is permission on all
Well,
of
I just wanted to double check with everybody, and I just want to make sure before, because I'm finishing the site, and that's all I would just make sure. Just want to
yeah,
be transparent about that.
I think you're good to go on all of that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
That's all I have for right now. I'm waiting for that girlfriend to come over.
We'll get you your mail order bride soon.
Oh no, I'm married already. No, I don't.
All right, Libby, go ahead.
Hey there, how you doing, John? So I have two questions and I wanted to share my screen with you because I have my landing page, the AI landing page, but at the same time, I want to make sure that I have my links right. Okay.
Okay.
So hang on. Okay. All right, so this is my landing page. La la la. So when I have these areas in here,
Uh-huh.
okay, so where am I? Oh, no, it's not the one I want. Hang on. Go over
You need
there.
to roll over the green button.
Yeah, I'm trying to get him to
Yeah, there
roll
you go.
his little, come on, kiddo.
Then the
Okay,
link
so
tab.
the link I have right now, I have this one, the Easy Converting Leads Internet Nominators, which is actually goes to
That's the
my
login page.
agency. But would I have it go there, or should it be going here to my to this one?
Well, it depends if you want to sell Acquisition Air as an affiliate or if you want to sell your program as a white label.
Yeah, I mean, I'm corporate jet now,
Okay.
but at the same time, I mean, obviously there's going to be a lead difference, but I just wasn't sure which way I should go with this in the first place because
Okay. Well, it depends if you want to sell somebody as an affiliate. Do you want to sell them Acquisition Air itself, or do you want to sell them something from your brand?
well, if I do it from my brand, then I'm doing all the work.
Yes, that's
But
correct.
I do make more money doing that. However, if I do it through you, I don't have to deal with it.
Okay, so if that's the case, if you just want to sell it through us and you're just the affiliate
Uh-huh.
and you just get the affiliate money and you don't have to do anything, then
Mhm.
use your Kartra affiliate link.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's the link that you would put on that button.
So to me, really, it just depends on who I'm talking to in the first place,
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, which way.
You might actually clone that page and put different links on the different clones for that purpose. So hey, if I have somebody else,
Oh,
I just want to do an affiliate, give them that page. If you've got somebody that, hey, you want to sell leads to, set that up and
okay. Then I would just change the cost of the leads, obviously, on each
Yes.
page. Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, cool.
you could do that.
Okay, good. Like it. Thank you. That's it. That's all I've got.
All right. Well, we got Woody, and then we'll wrap her up for today.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yeah, John, I need to know how Acquisition Air could benefit me. I haven't really geared up. I got so busy with other projects trying to get a core group together to do that. But on Forbidden, Michael, my associate, we put it on Facebook. We have 7,000 people responding, but the age demographic is 50 to 70, mostly women.
Okay.
But then there's a good group of men too. And out of that, only 12 did the opt-in.
Okay.
So it's been really good because you see the personalities of the people that are getting it and that are interested in it.
Yeah.
But, um, already I spent about 500. I think we're on $25 a day.
Yeah.
So is there any way um to be able to solicit the 7,000 in some way, to make it worthwhile?
Sure. If you got them to your website, like if you got 7,000 people to click from Facebook to go to your website.
No, only 12 did.
Okay.
And
But
a lot of them think that they're in the site on the Facebook page.
Okay, but
like acting like they're there, but
you said you got 12 that actually opted in.
yes, sir.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that only 12 went to the website. Probably a lot more went to the website and only 12 opted in. So if let's say you sent, 1,000 to the website and only 12 opted in, that's the number that you need to know to figure out your conversion. Now, that said, if 1,000 went to the website, you could actually use an acquisition error. You could use the thing called the site leads instead of the search leads. You can put that little snippet on your website, and then it will get you the email address of everyone that came to that page. Now you can follow up with them outside of Facebook on your own, basically for free. Those leads will cost you 25 cents a lead to get their contact information using the Site AI program, or the Site AI portion of Acquisition Air. So that would be a really good solution for you to get more contact information. Maybe only 7 opted in, but maybe you had hundreds that you could potentially remarket to via email.
I thought Facebook doesn't allow that.
That I don't know. I don't really know the sequence of what you're doing, but once they're off of Facebook and onto your site, they have no control over that.
Oh, yeah.
So if they got onto your site and you had
Only 12.
then you're all good to go.
I'm just not getting the numbers I need.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to spend, I might as well spend on AA active.
Yeah. I would say though, from your demographic, I would say Facebook is probably a pretty good target market for you.
Yeah, because someone else said all the kids, they're all using apps. They never go to Facebook.
Yeah. But your demographic, it's that older audience, and it's the audience that's on Facebook. So
well, they think they're on the site already. That's how wackadoo. It's going over. So I put a link on the Facebook ads to the site where they get the 3 menus to what to order. But they don't use the link. I don't think they get it. So can I write, this is the entryway to the actual site where, you know what I mean?
You should be able to do that. Tell them actually what to do. You'd be shocked at how many people just don't do something if you don't tell them. Like literally the link could be right there, but if you don't tell them to click the link and what they're going to get on the other side, they might not click it. That blows my mind, but it's true. So have the call to action, like think in terms of that Frank Kern formula. Here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. Click the link and, take the action.
Got it. All right. We're going to fine tune it and get on with acquisition error on this.
Sounds like a winner. All right. Well, I will let you guys all go for today. We'll be back on regular time next week. Thank you all for coming on. another great session. So, and Richard, I promise we're going to do everything we can to get you up and running as fast as we can. All right,
Thank you, John. Thank you.
have a great week, and we will
Thanks.
see you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks, John.